Hi everybody, welcome to Sunya IAS. Welcome back to Environment High Yield Topics for Prelims 2023. We'll now see Species Part 3, right? I hope you've seen Part 1 and Part 2. We are now going to cover terrestrial species, right? So one by one, I have this small list in general. We'll talk about Asiatic lions, tigers, snow leopards, Shanghai deer, fishing cat, right? Nilgiri tar, red panda, one-horned rhinos, Slender Loris, and Jeypore ground gecko. I did mention about Jeypore ground gecko in the last lecture, okay? So one by one, we'll see only the very important updates, okay? Now, Asiatic lion we have to discuss. So number one, this is an endemic species, right? Where is it endemic? So this is endemic to Gir National Park. So Gir National Park is in Gujarat. So number one, this is endemic there. Okay. Second thing, why was this in news? So there was a Project Lion document, right? Lion at 47 vision for Amrit Kal. This has been there, which talks about restoration and protection of Asiatic lion. Okay. So that is number one thing you need to know about here, right? Now I'll tell you very important thing which many of you may not know. Spoken about cheetah. Okay, so you can just write a heading about cheetah here. Now number one, what you need to know, I'll mention both separately, so you have no doubt, and this is only the last piece of information you need to know. Asiatic cheetah are right now only found in Iran. Second, they were extinct in India in the 1950s. Okay, I'm talking of Asiatic cheetah, which is why Asiatic cheetah are known as have the status critically endangered. Okay, last, where did you find them last in India when they got extinct? The last known habitat was Guru Ghasidas National Park. Okay, and some of the remaining ones also were found in Banni grassland. Now in the first lecture on species, I told you Banni grassland is infested by a particular invasive species. Now can you tell that? So again, Asiatic lions found now only in Iran. India mein, they were extinct in 1950s. They are critically endangered. The last known habitat is Guru Ghasidas. So whenever you are told that cheetah reintroduction program is happening, what people, or let's say they are referring to, is African cheetah being introduced to India. So from Namibia and from South Africa, you have cheetahs which are African cheetahs which are coming to India. Now comparison wise, African cheetah here is bigger than Asiatic, but it was not the case when it was about lions. Okay, that is number one. Second, in case of African cheetah, what extra you need to know? Of course, they will not be critically endangered. Why? Because the population is around 7,000 to 8,000 African cheetahs are present. Fine. Where are they going to come? They are also going to come to Kuno National Park. Where is Kuno National Park? This is in Madhya Pradesh. So these things you should know when I'm talking of African cheetah reintroduction. The reintroduction is being done in Kuno National Park, Madhya Pradesh. Okay. And what is the nodal authority which is going to oversee this cheetah reintroduction? That is National Tiger Conservation Authority, which is headed by the Environment Minister. That is going to oversee the reintroduction of these cheetahs. Okay, I hope this makes sense. And the comparison also with Project Lion. Also, one most interesting fact, and this can also be very controversial also, as per some of the environmentalists. Kuno already had leopards. Now you are bringing cheetah and you are also bringing in Asiatic lion in the Project Lion. So Kuno will be having these three predators. Generally speaking, you don't have two predators in an ecosystem. Why? Because there is a problem of competition. Okay, because they have limited prey base. So now this can be a problem in general, but some or environmentalists say that this has a sufficient prey base, but every time 2 or 3 months you will see a new article saying that maybe the prey base is not sufficient, but this time will only tell, okay, as to how successful this project is going to be, right? So this was the second one. Second, we've discussed cheetah. We've already discussed Asiatic lion. Now coming back to third one, this is tigers. Tigers are in use because of two specific reasons. One is Project Tiger completing 50 years. Okay, Project Tiger was launched in 1973. The nodal authority was National Tiger Conservation Authority. Very important. It has completed 50 years. It's a landmark. Okay. So that is something we need to be aware about, right? Now, because of successful efforts of Project Tiger NTCA, what has happened? In the recent tiger census of 2022, we have seen an increase in the tiger population. So number one question can be whether there has been an increase or a decrease. So tiger population has increased, right? In 2014, you are having roughly 2200. Then 2018, almost 3000. Now how much tigers you have? 3167. Okay. Second question which can be asked, how many, like in a gap of how many years do you conduct the tiger census? So it's conducted in a gap of 4 years. Second question which can be asked, who conducts it? So it is National Tiger Conservation Authority along with Wildlife Institute of India, which conducts this tiger census. All right, I hope this makes sense. Now, one more question that can be asked. From 2014 to 2018, you had a huge increase, okay, from 2200 to almost 3000. But from 2018 to 22, it was a very small increase, okay. So if they mention a statement like that, from 18 to 22, you have a huge increase in tiger population percentage wise, that is not true. Now, again, if you're able to see the image, from 1400 right now, I have 3100 odd tigers. Haven't we been able to double the tiger population? Yes, we have been able to, which is why India became the second country in the world to double its tiger population. The first country in the world was Nepal. After Nepal, India was the second country to have double its tiger population. This is known as TX2. Okay. This is also related to St. Petersburg Declaration, which talks about doubling the tiger population overall, right? And with that, the last fact I want to tell you about tigers. So last 1 or 2 facts. Number one, India has population of around 70 to 80% of world's tiger. That is number one. Then second thing, if I talk of tiger reserves, okay, you know that there are around 54 tiger reserves right now. The size wise, area wise, the biggest tiger reserve is Nagarjun Sagar Sri Salem Tiger Reserve, and the smallest area wise is Bor, BOR, in Maharashtra. Bor Tiger Reserve is the smallest one, right? So I hope this makes sense to you. Again, a small piece of homework. Take out your piece of map and map all the tiger reserves state wise. Okay, this is something you should know. Moving on, we talk about snow leopard now. Now in snow leopard, why was first of all this in news? Snow leopard, because snow leopard conservationist, which is Charu Dutt Mishra, won Whitley Gold Awards for the conservation, right? And they had also included the local communities. So that is number one. That is one thing you need to know. Snow leopards are vulnerable. Fine. Snow leopards, of course, are found in very cold and higher altitudes. So places can be found in Hemis, can be found in Ascot Wildlife Sanctuary, can be found in Nanda Devi. Okay. Apart from that, again in portions of eastern Himalayas, you can find this. Okay. So that is first of all one thing you need to know. Apart from that, this is the state animal of Himachal Pradesh. Okay. So this is snow leopard, that is number one. For tigers, I discussed St. Petersburg Declaration. For snow leopard, you have Bishkek Declaration, right? For protection of this. And there again, to conserve them, there was a Secure Himalaya project. Secure Himalaya project to preserve snow leopards. All right. So just these things you should know, that a particular Whitley Gold Awards was given for its conservation. Apart from that, in the areas in which it is found. So let's say if they ask or they mention this is found in Satpura or parts of central, etc., that will not be found. Geographically, that's not possible. So just make sure whenever I'm discussing any species, think of the distribution in which area it is going to be found. These are snow leopards. Moving forward, Sangai deer. Okay, very important. Why? Because the Honorable Prime Minister addressed the Manipur Sangai festival. So few things you need to know. Number one, it is also known as brow antlered deer. Okay. Second, of course, it is the state animal of Manipur, right? Sangai deer is also known as dancing deer. Why? Because Kabil Namjao National Park and Loktak Lake has fumdis. What are fumdis? Fumdis is the floating vegetation. So from one vegetation to the other, it appears to like jump, and when you capture it, it appears to be dancing. Hence, this name is known as dancing deer. Okay, so Sangai deer is dancing deer. Okay, additionally, Sangai deer is also a part of species recovery program. By the way, Asiatic lion was also part of species recovery program. So again, make sure after you are done with species, Google species recovery program. There you will see a list of around 22 species. Okay, so number one, who adds any species to species recovery program? The answer is National Board for Wildlife, which is headed by the Prime Minister of India, right? But more importantly, read the species there. So there, Sangai deer is also mentioned. What did I discuss about Sangai deer? That this is the state animal of Manipur. This is known as the dancing deer, found in Loktak Lake and Kelbil Lamjaw National Park. Now, when we discuss deers, there are two prominent deers which we discuss. One is Sangai, and second is Kashmir stag known as Hangul, okay, which is predominantly found in Dachigam National Park. So that is one thing you need to know. Again, this is mentioned in species recovery program. However, Kashmir stag or Hangul is critically endangered, okay, whereas Sangai deer is not critically endangered, right? So what is then Sangai deer? So Sangai deer is basically only endangered, whereas Hangul is critically endangered. That's a point of difference between them. Location wise, of course, they are different. So this will be found in Jammu and Kashmir, Hangul. This is found in Manipur, that is northeast. Conservation status is also different. However, both of them are part of species recovery program. All right. Then fishing cats were in the news. I'll tell you why. Fishing cats, number one, the world's first fishing cat census was being done by Chilika Development Authority. So because of that, they were in the news. Fine. Apart from that, they had a radio collaring exercises. Okay, the collaring exercises is also done for conservation. This happened in Koringa. Okay, Koringa is basically in Andhra Pradesh. So basically, because of this radio collaring exercises and also the world's first fishing cat census, this was in the news. Okay, now you find a lot of fishing cats in Sundarbans, right? So that is also one thing we need to know. Apart from that, it is the state animal of West Bengal, right? These are nocturnal, because basically being active in the night. Okay, so some things that you need to know, and these are vulnerable. Now again, one more thing, you may think that do we have to remember all the conservation status? No, only remember the critically endangered ones. Those are the most important ones. Okay, Nilgiri tar, then why this is the news? Because Tamil Nadu is going to set up or implement this project Nilgiri tar, okay, which is again trying to better conserve these species, right? These are Nilgiri tar. Fine. So what exactly should you know? So at Nilgiri tar, basically, where do you find it? Number one, if Tamil Nadu is trying to implement this, so first of all, this is the state animal of Tamil Nadu. Okay, first and in Tamil Nadu specifically, if you want to ask, this is found in Mukurthi National Park. Apart from that, in Kerala also it is found in Iravikulam National Park, right? So two particular protected areas, but it's also found in other places in Tamil Nadu as well, but mostly in Mukurthi National Park. In Kerala, you'll find it in Iravikulam National Park, right? So number one, you should know about this, okay? And the Tamil Nadu doing this for the Project Tiger. Again, one more thing, this is of course not critically endangered, okay? I'm just mentioning these are endangered, but in general, that is something you need to know about it, okay? Moving forward, now we'll see red panda. Now there has been a reduction in the population of red panda. Their habitat has been shrinking and reducing, which is why it has often been in the news. Now, Padmaja Naidu Himalayan Zoological Park, which is in West Bengal. Now this has released around 20 into the forests. So first of all, this location, that this zoological park in West Bengal. So number one, this location can be asked from you, okay? So that is one. Apart from that, what are these? So these are also indicator species, okay? Second, apart from this, what should you know? That you can find these red panda in places like Kanchenjunga. Kanchenjunga is UNESCO's mixed heritage site. Kanchenjunga is in Sikkim, okay? Apart from that, you can find it in eastern Himalayas when we basically talk of northeast. So there also you can find red panda. You can also find that in red panda in West Bengal, in portions of Sikkim, northeast. So that is one thing. And this Padmaja Naidu Himalayan zoological park. Because of this, they were in the news. Okay, so that is one. And of course, when I'm saying Sikkim, it is actually the state animal also of Sikkim. So that is why you can know about it. Now, one-horned rhino. Some one-horned rhinos were moved from Kaziranga National Park. When I say Kaziranga, Kaziranga has around 90% of population of these one-horned rhinos. Fine. So we wanted to move some of them. Why? Because the issue happens because of the flooding of the river Brahmaputra. Okay. So often you would have seen flooding in the portions of Assam, flooding in portions of Bihar. So let's say if this Brahmaputra is flooding, this can put the habitat and the location, this population of one-horned rhino in problem. Okay. So from Kaziranga, they were moved to Manas National Park. The basic idea was we wanted to improve them. Fine. Second, these are vulnerable. Then you also should know there is a Indian Rhino Vision 2020. Indian Rhino Vision, the only trap they can say that this is by the government of India. No, this is a state-led initiative. It is by Assam government with Bodo Development Council. Okay, with different NGOs like International Rhino Foundation, so on and so forth. So that is related to conserving the species of one-horned rhinos. Okay, so even that is something that you can just be aware about. All right. Then moving on, Slender Loris. So India's first Slender Loris sanctuary has been again notified in Tamil Nadu. Now you'll see a lot of updates in this lecture related to Tamil Nadu. So what you should do, you should mention all these things in one place so that you'll be able to recall it. Fine. So this Kadavur Slender Loris, this is India's first sanctuary for conservation of these Slender Loris. Okay. So that is one thing you need to know. Again, one more thing from the static part, that wildlife sanctuaries are conducive if you want to conserve one particular set of species. Okay. So it is actually these wildlife sanctuary, and which is why we've taken up this Slender Loris wildlife sanctuary. Okay. So that is one thing important here. Okay. Fine. And of course, these are those primates you can just write down which cannot jump. Okay. Primates that cannot jump. This is Slender Loris. Fine. So to conserve them, Tamil Nadu has come up with the India's first sanctuary, right? And then the last particular topic, or the second last topic of this lecture, this is Jeypore ground gecko. Okay. I already told you in COP19 of sites. Okay. So number one, sea cucumber was added. There was also an update on shisham. Then there were two particular set of turtles which we have already seen in the previous lecture. Those were included. And lastly, Jeypore ground gecko, right? So what has happened? In sites we have different appendix. By the way, COP19 happened in Panama. So in sites what you have different appendix. Fine. So this now has moved to appendix 2 of sites, number one. Fine. Second, these are endangered and these are endemic also, okay, to portions of India. So number one, these are endangered, okay, and these, where would you find them? So these are basically endemic to Eastern Ghats. Basically, when you're talking of peninsular India, and that too, they're endemic to Eastern Ghats. All right. So this is the Jeypore ground gecko. Basically, what is a gecko? Gecko is a lizard. That is what you need to remember. Okay. And yes, this is the last topic. This is Indian pangolins. So pangolins, just remember there are 8 species of pangolins in India. You have 2 species. One is Indian pangolin and the other is Chinese pangolin, right? And it's also easy to remember, Chinese pangolin is critically endangered. Okay. So that is number one thing that you need to know. Whereas Indian pangolin is endangered, right? So here in the COP19 sites, it had urged basically the parties to remove references to pangolins from this pharmacopoeia. What is pharmacopoeia? It is actually a collection wherein all these pharmaceutical products and standards are mentioned. So the COP19, they basically had urged the different parties to remove pangolins from these references, okay, in this particular compendium. Okay, so this is why this was in the news. What are pangolins? If you can see, okay, these are the world's most trafficked mammals. Okay, so this is in news because of a lot of trafficking in general. These skiggles, etc., which are present, are used or mentioned in Tibetan and in Chinese traditional medicine. So this is why this is heavily trafficked. Okay, so because of this, this generally is in the news. That is something you need to be aware about. All right. Now, again, we'll quickly recap what all we have seen. in this particular set of, let's say, lecture. So we started a discussion with Asiatic Lion. Then I also covered the cheetah reintroduction with you. Then we saw tiger, Project Tiger turning 50. Okay, tiger census of 2022. We saw snow leopard. We saw Sangai deer. We saw fishing cats. We saw Nilgiri tar, red panda, one horned rhinos, Slender Loris, Jeypore ground gecko, and lastly Indian pangolins. Okay, right? Again, in those of you who want to avail the prelims crash course specifically for environment, can do so. You will have this very high yielding set of lectures and these notes alongside that will aid your preparation, right? In case you want, you can do so. And this brings me to the end of part 3. Okay, and again, very small set of species now are left that I'll quickly wrap up in part 4. So along all these parts 1, 2, 3, 4, you can revise them in under 1 hour. Okay, and that will help you a lot in revising this at a very crucial time, right? So I'll meet you very soon. Till then, thank you.